So we have a Train XR13 here. Customer called, said it's not working, so we got to perform some diagnostics here. So first thing I did was go down to the furnace, or also known as the air handler, and made sure that the blower was running, made sure the filter was clean, made sure the blower was running in the right direction. That's first thing you got to do here. So we're gonna set up our smart probes here. We're gonna flip this thing into cooling, and we're gonna take some readings. So the best part about using probes here like this and not a manifold with hoses is you're not removing a lot of refrigerant from the system. And I mean, who knows what's in your hoses? Air, oil, debris, contaminants, so on and so forth, right? So when you're diagnosing or troubleshooting or doing maintenance, probes, to me, it's just the way to go. It just makes a lot of sense. So let's hook these up. So we're all hooked up here, and the offset really helps, because if they were straight, they might, hit the base of the unit. The offset really helps to get them away from any obstructions here. Okay, so before we start anything up, okay, we've got our probes on. We know there's refrigerant in there. We don't know if there's enough until we actually run it. Now, I recommend for any service call, we do a visual inspection of the electrical, because it can tell us a lot. And look what this is telling us. We've got a buildup of insects and debris in this electrical cabinet that should be cleaned first before we move on. So we've got this cleaned up a bit, and what we're going to do here is when we start this machine up, we're going to check the amperage of the compressor. We're going to check the lock rotor amps of that compressor, because if it gets stuck on lock rotor and the compressor doesn't start, we could have a problem with some of the starting components in this machine. As you can see, this capacitor is dangling here. We need to fix that. Obviously, before we try to start it, because we don't want this shorting out on anything, but we need to check the amp draw and the locked rotor amps to make sure the compressor starts up okay and it's not seized, or the starting components haven't failed, causing the compressor not to start. Okay, we got that fixed. All we did was move the bracket in a little bit, and now we're secured. We're not going to be dropping down with potential of these terminals touching this and grounding out. So let's turn this thing on and see how it fires up. So with the machine running here, our compressor is drawing 3.6 amps. Our condenser fan is running and it's going in the right direction. Okay, so let's check our pressures and our temperatures and see how this thing's performing. We have our probes, temperature probes and pressure probes attached. We are running low pressures here. We got a 3.2 degree evaporator, and we have a 70, almost a 70 degree condenser temperature. Superheat is very high, subcooling is very low. This is a classic low charge situation, so it looks like we're going to be leak checking this system. So really, with any system that has a leak, especially in residential, I always start at the evaporator, because 90% of the time that's where the leak is. So we're going to start here with the leak detector and some soap. Now, I highly recommend using a electronic leak detector, because, I mean, covering everything with soap is time consuming, it's messy. An electronic leak detector, a good one, this is the one that I use most of the time, Testo 316-3, and I find it works phenomenally for situations like this. It's found every single leak I've looked for. So we're going to start here and see if we can find it. So I have went through this with the leak detector with a fine-tooth comb, and we are not picking anything up in this evaporator, which surprises me because it's old and you can see some corrosion and stuff like that. So we are going to go now check in the condensing unit. Now, sometimes you can get a leak somewhere in the line set where it's run, if it's running through some brick or concrete or something like that, and it's been rubbing, and sometimes you'll never find those. Hopefully we can track this one down. Okay, so I have went through this entire system with a fine-tooth comb. We have even pulled the compressor blanket back and checked all the welds around the compressor, and we got Rotolock on there, and sometimes those are leak points, but we are getting nothing. The only thing I can pick up slightly is this core right here on the high side. See, we're picking up a slight leak there. So if this cap wasn't fully tightened on, or one of these caps wasn't fully tightened on, and to be honest, I didn't even notice how tight they were, I just kind of took them off, we could actually leak right through the cap. And this core right here, I am registering nothing on. So this one here, this is the only point of leak that I can find. Okay, so let's recap here. We have a 16-year-old unit that has a small leak somewhere. Not a big one, because we would be totally out of refrigerant. This thing's totally out of warranty, and the customer's also wondering if they should replace the system as well, but they need to get it going for now. So I'm going to show you guys something, and a lot of techs don't like doing this, but 5 years in, I've had some luck. So this is AC Smart Seal Quick Shot. Basically what this is an oil-based sealant. It's not polymer-based, so it doesn't harden. I haven't had a dead compressor, a clogged valve, and I've been using this stuff for 5 years in strategic situations like this. So we do have a small leak right here. We're going to put some Nylog on the caps to make sure they don't leak again. But if we do have some sort of mystery leak that is tiny and our leak detector is not just picking it up, we're going to put this stuff in and we're going to charge it up. So let's go through that now. And because our low side is running low when we run the compressor, we can basically inject it into there with no problems because we're running low right here. Okay, so let's do that now. So just a quick note, guys, in the summary of this video, I'm going to leave an article that I wrote on when to use this stuff, and make sure that you go through the process of troubleshooting, leak checking, and don't use it blindly, and don't use it in a situation where you have a massive leak, because it's really not going to work. It's got to be used in a low leak situation like this, and you got to go through the motions. You got to leak check, you got to troubleshoot and all that. So check out that article in the summary of this video. So we're up and running here, and what I'm going to do is inject this into the system. It's going to take a little bit of force because we are pushing against some pressure there. So there, we've got that in now, and now we're going to go charge this system up. We are sort of equalizing out a little bit. We've added almost 2.5 pounds of refrigerant. The house is coming down in temperature. We're at now 74 degrees and set point is 73. We're almost at set point, and our evaporator is like bang on 40 degrees. So happy HVACing.